All right, guys, we are going to cover one of the highly requested and highly anticipated videos, living in Waikiki. We're going to cover a lot of information, pros and cons, home prices, different types of construction out here. We're even going to get a sneak peek of my own personal Airbnb, as well as a $2 million condo out here in Waikiki. So stick around, get all the details. Now, Waikiki wasn't always the tourist destination that it is today. Before the skyscrapers and the tourism, it actually was a retreat for the Royal Hawaiian family. And it wasn't until the 50s and 60s where we actually saw musicians and movie stars like Elvis Presley actually start to put this place on the map. And then we saw the boom of development and construction. Some of the condos you see behind me, they're still standing here. They were built in the 60s and 70s. So let's check it out. When it comes to location, Waikiki can be a bit confusing. People think Waikiki, they think of the Hawaiian Islands or Honolulu or Hawaii in general. Waikiki specifically is going to be in between the Alawai and basically Waikiki Beach, as you can see on this map right here. That encompasses all of Waikiki. Now, you're only about 12 miles from the airport. You have to take a Uber. You're probably looking about 20 to 50 bucks for an Uber, but it definitely invites lots of tourism, lots of excitement, and lots of things to do. Now, when it comes to things to do out here in Waikiki, the list can be pretty extensive. The main focus, of course, is going to be the ocean and the water. We're right here in Waikiki Beach, as you can see behind me, and just within a stone's rock throw, you can have a volleyball tournament going on over here. We have plenty of people soaking up the sun, diving, snorkeling, as well as surfing. As you can see, it's pretty crowded. We'll take a look at that pretty soon here, as well as enjoying a boat tour, catamaran, booze cruise, sailing. There's so much that you can do out here, and that's just when it comes to the water. Now, on land, you have plenty of options as well. You have tons of local shops, as well as high-end shops when it comes to your shopping experience, as well as the same when it comes to eateries. And there is a diverse options of types of food, whether you want to get a local plate lunch, get some chicken katsu, or whether you want to go to a high-end steakhouse like Roy's. One thing I really want to emphasize is the difference between leasehold and fee simple. I can't tell you how many calls I get from people who see my videos or people who just reach out to me. They're like, hey, I just found this property. It's oceanfront, 2-bedroom, 2,000 square feet, and it's only $80,000. Well, if it's too good to be true, it usually is. That is a leasehold property, which generally means that you own the structure, but you don't own the land. You're generally paying an extra fee to rent the land. That's why the property price is so cheap. And the value of that property actually goes down because the term actually gets shorter for how long you can rent that land for. So I'd say about 99% of the time, it's a horrible investment. The only person who leasehold is really good for is if the numbers make sense and you can cash flow it in regards to that term, or if you're gonna die before the lease is up. We are now on the backside of Waikiki. So as I discussed before, Waikiki is really smack in the middle between Waikiki Beach and the Alawai. Now, the Alawai is freshwater. I definitely wouldn't swim in it, but it does provide a great view for some of the buildings behind me. And this is where you're gonna find a lot of the condos, if you're gonna buy in Waikiki, are gonna be located right by the Alawai, as most of the buildings right on the beach are generally gonna be restaurants and businesses. Now, with that being said, if you were to buy one of these condos, a lot of them are gonna be built in the 60s and 70s. With that being said, a lot of them are going to be older and also going to have higher HOAs. Because they're older, they tend to have to fix things like the elevator, spalling, roof, plumbing. So we tend to see higher HOAs somewhere in between $600 to $3,000 a month. That's definitely something you want to keep in mind when you're shopping out here in Waikiki. Home prices. Well, out here in Waikiki, there are no single family homes. It's all going to be condos, and they're going to fluctuate depending on the quality, the size, and the view. But to give you some general averages in regards to price, if you're looking at studios, so 1 bedrooms are generally going to be between 300 and 500. 2 bedrooms going to be generally about 500 to 700 plus, and 3 bedrooms, which you can find some out here, will be upwards of 700 to multi-million dollars. And keep in mind, there are some luxury condos, which we definitely are going to check out today, where it might only have 1 or 2 bedrooms and could be millions and millions of dollars. So it just really depends on what you're looking for, its location, and of course, the view. Now, Now, one thing that I get a lot of calls for is the idea of owning a property out here and Airbnb-ing it, which in theory is a great idea, but you need to know the ins and outs of it because there are lots of rules and regulations. The first one is you need to find a property that's zoned for Airbnb, which is somewhat difficult. Waikiki being one of the main areas that does allow it depending on what part of Waikiki. So make sure you reach out to me if you are interested on that. The second thing is making sure that the board actually approves it. You could be zoned for Airbnb, but if the board nixes it, you're completely out in the cold. And the third thing is what the government is feeling or wants to do. They've been passing lots of bills, slowly changing the rules and regulations, and you could own a unit today that is zoned for Airbnb, and tomorrow that could completely change. But today we're actually gonna take a look. I actually own an Airbnb in this unit that actually does really well. So feel free to reach out to me if you wanna know the numbers and how I've really automated it. But we're gonna go check out one of those units right now. All right, guys, come on in, check out this amazing Airbnb unit. Now, before we actually check it out, let me get you excited on the numbers, because if you're buying this for an Airbnb, you're gonna be more excited about the numbers. Now, I actually own a unit just above this. It's a studio, but it does really well. And don't take my word for it. I mean, just check a look. I just was opening up my Airbnb app. These are all the bookings we've had pretty much in just the last few months. We do about 90% occupancy, booked out about 2 to 3 months out. We usually rent it out anywhere between 120 to 250 bucks a night. Now that's for a studio. This is a 1-bedroom. This actually does better. It actually, I think, grosses about $80,000 a year, which is killer. And this actually is on the market. It's owned by a good friend of mine. So if you're at all interested, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to put a deal together for you. But come check it out. It's fully renovated. And also let me know in the comments section down below. I have fully automated the process of managing my Airbnb. If you guys want to get the insight on how I did that, comment down below that you want to see that video and I'll make it for you. So let's check out this beautiful unit. Walking through the unit, the first thing I really like about this is they do have separate spaces, of course, maximizing. I think it's a little over 300 square feet. So they were very smart with the way that they utilize the space. You have your living room space, the pull-out couch. It's all about beds and heads when it comes to Airbnb. So you got 2 people that can be in there. They fully renovated this place. They kind of have this modern industrial look, as you can see with some of the fixtures, the way they did the electrical, as well as the concrete countertops, which is a really nice touch. Updated cabinets. Of course, you've got your fridge, your big sink, your bathroom, and then a really good size bedroom with the TV. And then of course, with any unit in Waikiki, you want to have some sort of outdoor living space. Usually you don't get a lot of it, but having just a little is really nice. You get that natural light coming from the outdoor lanai. Now this is a beautiful unit, definitely a good first-time investor or somebody who just wants to get it in the Airbnb game. But if you got deeper pockets and you want something you can truly enjoy with a stunning view, you're definitely gonna want to see this next one. Let's go check it out. Okay guys, as promised, we have this stunning $2.4 million condo right here in the heart of Waikiki, right on the water. Let's check it out. What's going on, guys? Welcome to 444. This is one of the most desirable units in the Ilikai. Come check it out. Now this is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, just at about 1,000 square feet in the Ilikai building, listed at $2.4 million, but for good reason. This thing has been fully renovated and has some stunning ocean views. Now, as you can see, the seller has put a lot of work into this property, and not too long ago, the property used to look like this. It needed a lot of work, but with a little bit of vision, and of course, the seller sparing no expense, he has turned this beautiful property into a gem out here in Waikiki. Now there's a lot to cover in this 1,000 square foot condo, but just starting with the kitchen, you can see that of course they have the quartz countertops, custom cabinets, and the stainless steel appliances. And I know this for a fact because I just renovated my property. These are definitely special order tile, and you'll see that throughout the property that it looks like nothing I've seen before because a lot of this stuff was special ordered. Now moving along, they also kind of kept in mind if you want to stay hydrated, well, how can we do that? We don't want to have some ugly little jug of water. Well, what they actually did is they installed fresh water dispenser right here. Now, one of the best things about this unit is not the modern fixtures and everything's been done, but it's the outdoor living space. And where we are right now is in the lanai, where you have a front row seat to the Waikiki fireworks that go off every single Friday. But you don't just have one place that you can enjoy that view, but two lanais that you can enjoy that view from. Now, this stunning property, of course, as we mentioned, is in the heart of Waikiki. You have stunning views and tons of amenities. But what you also can utilize this property for is it is zoned for short-term rental, which you've probably seen in some of my past videos is very difficult to find. And this one is in prime location, not only for living, but also for getting top dollar when renting out that Airbnb. This building does offer a lot, not only this beautiful unit, but the amenities. Just down below here, we do have the pool. So if you want to take a quick dip, get some sun. If you're hungry or want to drink, in the lobby, they do have a handful of shops and restaurants and bars. And they did just open up a brand new steakhouse on the roof with some stunning views. But if those amenities were not enough, you have one of the best amenities you can have in Hawaii, which is the beach. And just behind me is one of my favorite surf spots, rock piles and bowls, just right out there. All right, now in proper fashion, this has kind of become the theme for us as we sit down, we have a beer and we talk about the pros and cons of living out here in Waikiki. So the first pro would definitely be beach lifestyle. I mean, it's pretty obvious. You have Waikiki Beach right there, lots of things to do outdoors, but everything is kind of surrounded around the beach. The second thing would be walkability. Like I mentioned, it's between Alawai and Waikiki Beach. That is all of Waikiki, which is maybe only 4 or 5 blocks, and it extends out, but you have tons of restaurants, tons of activities, clubs, just basically anything and everything that you want within a 4-block radius and maybe another 10 blocks this way, but all in one area. So the walkability score is extremely, extremely high. Next thing I would say is that there's always something to do. Whether you want to go surf, whether you want to go get a bite to eat with your friends or have a beer with the view, whether you want to go snorkeling, diving, there's tons of things to do and there's always something to do out here in Waikiki. Now let's get into the cons. The first con would be leasehold properties. Like I mentioned before, kind of the difference between fee simple and leasehold. You'll see a large amount of those leasehold properties are going to be located in Waikiki. So make sure that you always double check Zillow or check with your realtor that when you see that $80,000 oceanfront property, it's most likely leasehold. So try to stay away from those. The second one would be parking. The large density of tourism and people that live here. So parking can be somewhat of a bear. There are a couple secret spots. Just a little tip, zoo parking is one of the cheapest. You can park right at the zoo parking for about $1.50 an hour, but parking can be a bit of a bear when you're trying to enjoy a lot of the experiences out here. The third one would be homeless. So I don't know why it's exactly, maybe it's because there's lots of tourism here, more money here, but we do start to see a larger density of homeless people that are in Hawaii. Now, that is everywhere across the island. It's not just here in Waikiki, but I do see generally a higher density out here in Waikiki when it comes to the homeless population. The next one would be traffic. Once again, lots of people. You're just gonna get a bit more traffic getting in and getting out. And even when you're inside Waikiki, because of people walking around, tourism, people going to and from work, it's just a part of life out here. The next one would be, it's a bit noisy. Now, depending on where you live in that condo, if you're on a high level, you're generally gonna have less noise, but because, once again, there's lots of people, you're generally gonna hear people on their scooters, their big Harleys, or people just driving around, or people screaming, having a great time. That's just the theme of living in the city. So that's just city living in a nutshell. It's gonna be a bit more noisy. And the last thing I would mention is going to be higher HOAs. Again, because the buildings were built in the 60s and 70s, and generally they're gonna have projects that they need to facilitate money towards to fix. Again, the main things we're generally seeing out here is modernization of elevators, fixing the plumbing that was built in the 60s or 70s, the roof, spalling. They need to allocate money to fix these things because they're older buildings, and the only way to do that is to raise HOAs. So HOAs generally, depending on the size of it, can range anywhere from about $500 to a couple $1,000s a month, and generally they don't come with too many amenities. Okay, as we beat our way through this traffic, we're at a stoplight, so we'll take this opportunity to talk about who Waikiki is good for and who it's not good for. Well, who's it good for? Well, if you are a city dweller, you enjoy the city life, the energy, having lots of things that you can do at any time of the day, Waikiki is a great option for you. But if you're someone who's looking for a single family or you have a large family yourself and you don't want to live in a high rise, then Waikiki might not be the best option for you, especially if you're driving and you don't like the traffic or having to deal with people who don't know how to drive. Waikiki is not an option for you. So just keep those things in mind when you are shopping and whether you're trying to decide on whether Waikiki is a good place to call home. We covered a lot of information about Waikiki, and I think I just scraped the surface, but we went over pros and cons, things to do, construction types, a little bit of the brief history out here in Waikiki, as well as saw that beautiful Airbnb that I have, and of course that $2 million condo out here in Honolulu. If you guys have any questions about Hawaii or any questions at all just about living out here, feel free to reach out to me. I'm Patrick with PatrickWallenRealty.com, powered by eXp Realty. Hope you have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon. Aloha.